several things stand out in a positive way, and of course, other things to fix as well. And we jumped right on it right away. Team was just very aggressive for correction and betterment and improvement, and it's taken a really, professional approach on finding ways to get better. And I think it was very evident in not only meetings but walkthroughs and practice. And looking forward to a great challenge and opportunity up in Raleigh this weekend in North Carolina State. So questions, please.
Mario, we haven't seen Jakari Brown since, we haven't personally seen him play since training camp. How is he progressing? How's he doing?
He's doing really well. Going to be a really great player for us.
Anything in particular that he's improved on, or just,
I'd say his reads, his accuracy. He's always run really well, but he's become a really good quarterback as well. He's had natural leadership skills since the day he set foot on campus. He was such a great player in high school. And it's, we haven't had a chance to see him out in public yet, but his strides are very significant, and we expect him to be a great player.
Would you like to see him at some point this season if you can?
Well, he's developing, he's doing a great job, and he's going to be a great player for us.
Mario, Javonte Citizen dressed for the first time for a game on Saturday. Obviously didn't get in. Do you expect to see him getting into the game, this coming week or soon?
Not sure. He is cleared, he is ready, he is rusty, and we want to make sure that when he does get in there, that it's because he has a chance to help us win games. The best part about it is there's no question he is going to be fully healthy, but he's going to be himself whenever that point hits. I think it's a little bit different when you're a running back. It's such an instinctive position like a middle linebacker that your body is almost going to do things, at a rate and a speed and from a reaction standpoint that it just takes reps. So he's getting a lot of reps in practice. Everyone's really happy for him because what he went through was obviously a tough thing, but I can't put a timeline on when exactly he's going to get reps.
What did you see was the disconnect, or some of the disconnects in the passing game, and how can things progress from here?
Well, probably a little bit of everything. I think when the passing game is off, the passing game is so much about precision. You mentioned being synchronized, being on the same page, and all it takes is being off here and there. Some of it was coverage was good. Some of it was could have made a better decision. Some of it was a route could have been better, or protection could have been better. And so in essence, we could have coached it better. So that's the way we take it. You probably didn't expect a different answer. We're going to take it completely as an organization, but the improvements and the areas that we identified are all fixable and things that we have done well early in the year. So we've certainly gone at it, directly, bluntly, and have reemphasized and gotten at the things that we feel are going to make it better because we're capable of doing it and we expect to make it happen.
Kind of a big picture question, sort of similar wins in overtime the last 2 weeks. What can that do to build team character?
Well, I think, like we mentioned the other night, you kind of get to the point where you see so many scenarios that you start really believing that there's not many things that you can't overcome. And that's really important. It's easy to talk about it. It's easy to simulate it in practice, but until you actually get into overtime, until you're actually pressed up against the 1 yard line, 2 yard line, until you have to come back and tie a game or take the lead late in the game and then defend your own side of the field. Until you actually do that in live action, it's it's just really hard to replicate. Well, we've had live work at that now and have had some really good responses and some good results, particularly in overtime. So belief and culture get stronger, which gives us a chance to get better.
Mario, it seems like the offensive line's only gotten better as the year's gone on. How have they gotten to the point where their public grades are off the charts and they're playing very, very well?
They got a lot of pride. They work really hard. They're talented. They're tough. Coach Mirabal grinds them. They believe in him. He believes in them. It's a great room. It's a great room. Those guys are a lot of fun to be around, and they are pushed really, really hard, and there's no sensitivity in there. None of them are going to, in any way, shape, or form, be taken aback when we get after them. And so it's again, it's a great room.
In your coaching career, what are some of the commonalities that lead to having a successful month of November?
Well, you got to get stronger as the year goes on, right? Hopefully you'll avoid some injuries. Your team leaders become your hardest workers and play their best football in clutch situation. The team starts understanding that it's not about, hey, someone making a play. The team starts understanding that it's about everyone doing their job and doing it really, really well. Because when that happens, the plays just come to you, you know. And as the year goes on, you know, it's week 9. Everybody around the country's in the same week. You know, our fatigue, our pain that we feel when we go out there to practice, it's not unique to us. Everybody's going through it. But to be able to wake up, regardless of what you feel, how you feel, and still have like that drive, that appetite to go get better, and understanding that Tuesday and Wednesday become your game reality. The teams that understand that and that push through that and on those days are the ones that really separate themselves in the closing months of the season. They also understand that those other days that there's walkthroughs, you know, the Mondays, the Fridays, that the mental intensity of those days has to match the physical intensity of Tuesday and Wednesday. So,
what have you seen from NC State on the film? They've stuck with a lot of other good teams.
They are physical. They are violent when they tackle. Their defense is extremely stout, fast, plays with great pad level, great technique, great fundamentals, great hands. They all get to the football. I mean, it's evident. I mean, you see them retracing on screens. You see them chase down plays that somehow broken got behind them, and not many do. You see when they get to the quarterback, they get there with intentions to let them know that they got there. Just a really impressive team, really impressive. Their kicking game is equally impressive. I believe they've hit a 56, 57-yarder this year. They cover down really well. Again, technically sound. You know, you could tell when you look at their team, you look at their roster, you see a lot of guys their 4th, 5th year, some in their 6th, I believe. So, and a lot of them, most of them are high school recruits. So they've been in the program, in the system for a long, long time. So they've been repping the systems, and they know the systems really well, and you can tell. And then on the offensive side of the ball, you see a very, you know, I know the young freshman, Concepcion's done an unbelievable job. He's been the player of the week for the conference and whatnot, but, you know, I'm always focusing on the trenches, and they are physical and really, really tough and athletic up front. They move people, they finish their blocks, they communicate really, really well. Quarterback's playing really well. Just they're an impressive football team.
What issues does a 3-3-5 pose?
Well, it's just different. You know, it's very different than anything we've seen all year long. You always get some, you know, some type of version of an odd front. This 3-3 nickel. There's a lot of things that come with it. You know, pressure comes from everywhere. There are internal pressures. There's a field missile, the boundary missile, corner fires incorporated, safeties coming with it. And it's just, they're so athletic that if a guy is out of his gap, it's quickly filled. You know, they can replace themselves, and the way it's spaced out, it makes those passing windows difficult. Their structure on the back end, they do a great job in disguising it, because it could look like 0, it could look like quarters, it could look like some form of 2 invert, some form of 3. They do a great job communicating and actually executing some pretty complex, you know, calls.
Coach, how have you noticed A.J. Allen grow within this offense since the start of the year, given that he's provided a lot over the past 2 weekends?
Yeah, we're starting to see the guy that we saw, you know, on film when he entered the portal, some of his high school film as well. And in camp, he was excellent. You know, there were times in camp where it's like, wait, this guy he's going to be a difference maker for us right away. And then I feel like as the season started, you know, different game plans, different opponents, I think that maybe slowed him down a little bit from an understanding and development standpoint. In the last couple of weeks, he's really picked it up. And you could see he's played against some, you know, obviously Clemson was a top 5, top 10 defense, and you saw the tough yards that he found. And then this past game, he was able to find, you know, he came out of the game, had a cramp back there and whatnot, but he really started finding his way. So he's making some tremendous strides, a lot of headway into just becoming a really, really good football player.
Would you say Is it towards the beginning of camp or towards the end that you saw him create those explosive plays, the line of scrimmage, where he could create any seam?
Yeah, I would say that first scrimmage over at Hard Rock, you know, when you saw him kind of break out of there, he bounced a couple and some he split the defense on, caught the ball to the backfield well. So he's shown that he's a complete guy and he could do a lot of things. He's a really good athlete. You know, if he had to play another position, like if you say, hey, go out there and cover somebody, he could probably do it. You know, AJ's that kind of a guy. And he's just a really hard worker and a great human being, great family. So we're all really happy for him and for us that he's playing well.
How has Tyler's mentality been the last couple of days?
He's been good. I mean, Tyler is a resilient, tough guy. And, you know, he went through a lot last year. And, you know, it wasn't his best game. But like I tell him, like I tell all our players, it's never on one guy. You know, we all have to do a better job by you and for you. You know, your supporting cast and your coaching staff always has to do better so that you can do better as well. There's no flinch in him at all. And he's a really good football player, and he's going to play well.
Did you think any of Tyler's the physical limitations after North Carolina affected him at all this past game?
It's hard to say, you know. Obviously, when you miss a week, I mean, it's still college football. When you're 18, 17, 21, 22, you just don't have all the reps logged like some of the guys. Again, we mentioned that, you know, I don't know if it's completely analogous to, you know, what I was trying to put together in terms of pro football, but those guys have so many reps logged that they can maybe go a few days without, you know, getting the reps. And I think in college you have to. And he missed some time. You know, he missed some time, but we don't want to really put it on anything or rationalize it or make an excuse for any player. We just want to just look at it right in the eye and say, hey, let's go make it better, right? Let's, with confidence, with not being sheepish or shy or in any way, shape, or form buckling, you know, let's be men and let's go attack this thing the right way.
And have you seen Emery, I know he played, you know, started that one game, in any way have you seen him grown since then, or his confidence or anything?
He got that ugly mustache he wears. That's about the only thing you see growing on him. But Emery is, he's like Tyler, he's like Jakari. Those guys are they're elite human beings. They're supportive teammates. They're competitors. They all want to play, you know. And they also recognize the importance of who has earned the right to play and the importance of supporting them and learning from them at the same time, you know. Those guys are so helpful throughout the course of the game in terms of support, in terms of something that they see on the back end that might be able to help the quarterback. So that's a great room.
You signed a highly touted recruiting class last year. I assume a lot of those guys are on scout team right now this fall. How are they doing? What type of looks are they giving you on scout team? Are you happy with their performance?
A lot of those guys are playing on special teams too, you know. Yeah, the scout team has been a really big difference. And scout teams here have always been the difference. You know, I remember being a graduate assistant and, man, that's like the Hall of Fame on the scout team, just whooping on the offense, and the offense coordinator can't figure out why they can't gain a yard in practice. You know, I remember the same thing as a player. So, again, going back to Tuesday and Wednesday, that's where that value comes in, because if it's as similar to the opponent as it could possibly be, and sometimes, you know, with some of the scout team guys that show up, sometimes it could be as good or maybe even better. You're going to have success on Saturday. Our team doesn't fully understand that yet, but we're starting to understand that. We still need more bodies. You know, we're still building the roster. We're still building the walk-on part of our roster as well, which is critical. You know, we recruit walk-ons just as hard as anything else, prefer to walk-ons, and they're given great opportunities here. So, but we're making our way there, and yes, they're critically important.
And I guess Henry Harris probably on a pitch count on Saturday. I think he had like 8 snaps, and Don didn't get in. Do you expect to see them increase their playing time this week?
We do. We feel Don is all the way there and ready to go, and so is Henry. Last week, the right move was both AJ and Mark, and it's kind of a neat balance right now, you know. And it's good pressure by them on themselves, right? A guy gets banged up, or a guy's missing a little bit of time, or maybe he's not at his best. Well, a couple guys there ready to take some carries. So it's the right kind of competitive culture. It's a healthy competitive culture, you know. It's got to have more of it at all the other positions.
Did you feel like Brashard had enough touches on Saturday in terms of offense?
I don't think you could ever get him enough touches. You know, that was the lowest, I think the lowest snap count we've had all year. What, we're at 55 plays or something like that. I think if you include the penalty, 55 or 56. So, you know, we want to keep getting the ball in a lot of players' hands. You know, we weren't at our best on Saturday. So.
How did you notice Mark fit back in with the offense, especially with the touchdown he had in overtime after he missed some time?
I'm sorry, one more time, the first part.
No, sorry. How did you notice that Mark readjusted to kind of being back in the full swing of the offense after he missed a little time?
Oh, he looked good. You know, he looked good in practice. You know, the return to play specialist here, Joe Girardi, actually played here, and that guy, he's exceptional. By the time they get back to playing a game, it's not the first live action they've seen, and they've seen enough like high speed, like realistic practice looks where they're prepared to have a good game. So it was no surprise that he picked up right where he left off before he was hurt.
How do you think he's adjusted to the college game with the physically imposing back that he is, but he can also, you know, create a lot of seams on the outside runs?
Mm-hmm. So far, so good. His best football is ahead of him, and quite frankly, I think for Mark Fletcher, sky's the limit.
Is there any update on Elijah?
Elijah, he got rolled up. You saw him. He came on out. He is day to day. You know, we feel pretty optimistic from what we saw this morning. After the game, it was like, well, you know, it's going to be touch and go. We're pretty optimistic. I think we're going to be in good shape. I think we're going to be in good shape.
I know the details haven't been released yet, but with the ACC announcing the new scheduling model and everything tonight, just what do you think about what the new look might be? Obviously, in general, because they haven't released specifics, but going to California and stuff and all that.
Well, I mean, the recruiting footprint, you know, grows, right? It stretches out. We head out that way anyways for that, but having coached out in the Pac-12 and whatnot, just recognizing there's just really good football out on the West Coast, more opportunities for us, for them, for our conference, for alumni, for recruiting. So I think it's all win-win. I haven't had a chance to peek at it yet, but, you know, at some point in time I will. But, yeah, it's all plus.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.